right, friends, I'm going to travel to our final panelist for the evening, Jason Alexander Holmes. Jason is the Associate Director of Choruses and Director of Youth Choruses at the May Festival. He is a music educator and performer from Ridgeway, Virginia. Prior to coming to Cincinnati, he was Director of Educational Programming at the Boston Children's Chorus. Jason taught music at the elementary and secondary levels in and around Rochester, New York. He also led the University of Rochester Gospel Choir and the Eastman Young Children's Chorus. Jason's work as a teacher, singer, pianist, conductor, and music director has brought him to work with choirs, orchestras, theater companies, and opera companies. As a choral educator, Jason has conducted honor choirs and presented workshops with singers of all ages. At the core of Jason's teaching and performing is the belief that we are all expressive and musical beings who deserve to witness and create moments of truth and beauty. Please join me in welcoming Jason Alexander Holmes.
Hello, everybody. This is there's so many things coming together right now. I'm sitting in my apartment in East Walnut Hills, literally just a couple blocks away from Hackberry, because that's how we roll. I'd also like to shout out Sierra's great aunts for having her sing because I had benefited so much from, those seeds that your great aunts planted within you. So thank you for mentioning that. Let's see. I Picking a poem from this collection was a journey. I tried to pick one randomly, so I didn't need to read the book from cover to cover, but that was not working because they were all great, and I was like, it's never going to happen this way. Then I tried to pick by the title or the author, again, not working because I was so fascinated by all of it. So I said, thank you, Snow Day. I'm going to sit down and read this entire thing cover to cover. And because I'm a Gemini, I couldn't choose just one. I settled on two of them. And Ada Limon, I want to tell you how grateful I am that you stopped that meeting to say there's an order to this, because the two that I chose were back to back. Well, I'll read them now, and then you'll see why. I'll talk a little bit about why they meant so much to me back to back. The first one is by Jason Schneiderman. It's called Staircase. And then I won't read all of that because it's quite long and quite dense, in terms of so many words. And then the one right after that is To Think of Italy While Climbing the Saunders-Monticello trail in Albemarle, Virginia, and that's by Kiki Petrosino. Um, Okay, here goes. Staircase. If you have the book, it's on page 125. If you don't have the book, let me just show you. When I say dense, like the page is covered in words, and I'll try to read it in that manner. Staircase by Jason Schneiderman. I'm not coping very well, but who is really? I'm somatizing stress, sleeping badly, eating too much candy, drinking too much alcohol, forgetting to exercise or hydrate properly, falling behind on everything, and the sun today is an alarmingly dull shade of orange, a well-cut circle of marigold construction paper in a pale rust sky. I am looking directly at the sun because the ash clouds from the wildfires in a country away have settled over this place so thick and so heavy that the brightness and the yellow have been stripped from the sun's rays before they reach my eyes. The particulate haze bouncing back the splendor, diffusing it. The news says being outside today is the equivalent of smoking 5 cigarettes, but I can't stop staring at the egg yolk sun because it feels, I don't know, important, like I have to bear witness, like seeing it will make me persuasive on questions of climate change and political action or something. So here I am inhaling this carcinogenic cloud of oxidized carbon when clearly I should go inside and close the windows, drink some water, meditate, do some yoga, read a book, anything really that is not standing here staring at the sun, breathing in cancer, letting my mind wander to the woman next to me on my flight home from Ohio last week, who kept repeating hoaxes to me as though they were true. I hadn't spoken to a stranger on a plane in years, and it was nice to feel social, to enjoy the seatmate serendipity of air travel. And even when she started recounting lies from the internet, false stories, conspiracy theories, I thought it would be a good practice at keeping my cool, good practice at being a good pedagogue. And I thought I had been gently and genuinely persuasive in my debunkings until about an hour into the flight when she said, "You're very well informed," in a way that was oddly insulting, dismissive, accusatory, as though I was ruining all the fun by actually knowing things. And I realized in that moment that facts and data would not make me even remotely convincing, at least not to her. And I should have retreated to my headphones and eye mask, but I felt committed to the conversation. And then she started to tell me about God's plan for me, that she could see his plan in my eyes. And I suddenly wished she had felt less comfortable with me as she launched into a tirade about how black magic is real, how witches are cursing Christians at their gatherings. And obviously, you can't grab someone by the shoulders on an airplane and scream, "You are why the world is on fire." Which is good. I support that. I should not have done that. But that's where my mind keeps going to an alternate reality where I did lose my cool and I did call her names and I did make a scene and remind me again, why can't I? It's her fault the world is on fire, isn't it? And I'll stop there for that poem. I encourage reading it. It was great therapy for me. Okay, now to Kiki Petrosino's To Think of Italy While Climbing the Saunders-Monticello Trail. It says Albemarle, Virginia. Two Piedmonts nearly touch across green water. I watch my hands fill up with wilderness. These mountains have given us so much, and we will not even give ourselves to each other. And again, in case you're not reading along, this is that poem on the page. There's so much space to breathe, to feel. So, Jason Schneiderman's poem, as Kelly read in my bio, I work quite often with singers and we are always singing words. And if we're doing our jobs, we're always thinking about those words and sort of what they mean. And usually songs are like really, or settings are very neat verse, right? This many syllables to make this vocal phrase, and so to speak. And so it was really cool to see Jason Schneiderman's poem, which is not that at all, right? It was a more true sort of representation of how I feel at this moment in time. It's tense, dense with words and feelings, rage, stream of consciousness, because of course, thinking about one thing inevitably leads you to thinking about something else. And it also reminded me that, we are natural. The chemicals that cause us to feel certain ways, that is nature. So that was touching to me, even though touching might be a weird way to describe that poem. In the second poem I read, first of all, Virginia, I got a shout out to Virginia. I live in Southern Virginia, so that when I go home to visit family, I have the pleasure of driving through most of the state, north to south, and it's a beautiful drive. The Blue Ridge Parkway is so meaningful to me. It's if I were to say one of my favorite places in the world, it would be those knobs that you can pull off the scenic areas, and they just bring me such peace, much in the way that this poem was peaceful and such a great sort of antidote to that tense and dense feeling from the first poem. And then the other thing I love about it and that was inspiring to me was that the natural world connects us, right? There is a Piedmont in Italy, there is a Piedmont in Virginia. And just like you said in the beginning of the call, we can't be unbelonged. We also can't be unconnected. Try as we might, as much as we don't want to talk to that person on the plane next to us with spouting all kinds of nonsense, we are actually connected. And the natural world is what offers that connection. So thank you for this opportunity. I have to give a shout out to the Vibe Check podcast. Saeed Jones mentioned this book, and I thought, whoa, I should get that book, and then I didn't. So I'm happy that you sent it in the mail through Learning to Write. So much gratitude to everyone for making this possible.
Oh my goodness, Jason, thank you. I tell you what, when you first told me that you had selected Schneiderman, I thought, oh, that gave me the uproarious comedic release that I needed when I read that as just as fast as I could. Oh my goodness. And thank you to everyone on the call. Ada, it's just again such a blessing to have you. And as soon as we saw the selection possibilities for You Are Here, immediately gravitated towards yours because it's just so rich conceptually how it plays upon multiple meanings all at once, and it's just extraordinary.